Fire away.
The obvious question is how do you get the guys to focus on a Washington State team that seems to be strong?
Yeah, you know, those of us who have been here know how many close calls we've had in Poland here in recent memory, including, I was trying to remember today if Malcolm made a layup or was it free throws with 2 seconds to go. We won there 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I can't remember his last name. But you know, we've had so many, and you know, Modem is such a good player. I mean, they had Oregon down 17, 2 weeks ago, and Oregon made a miraculous comeback, was able to win. They played great yesterday at Washington. So, you know, I know and try to really impress upon our players that if we don't show up and play our best, we've definitely put ourselves in an opportunity to lose on Wednesday night. And that's the only game I'm thinking about. And as I told you guys after the game, and I honest to God, telling the truth, I didn't even know we were playing Wednesday till Saturday. And it just happened that we were talking about Shabazz's eye appointment, which he just left for. And Mike mentioned, yeah, well, we're leaving on Tuesday. I said, what are you talking about? Because I'm so used to this Thursday, Saturday stuff over the years that and I haven't even paid attention to the next game. So trust me, all I'm concerned about are the Cougars. And I know that you know, beating us on Wednesday would really you know, be something that they'd be excited about.
What is it about the Washington road trip that's so difficult?
Well, it's a long way to get there. It's very difficult travel. You know, as you know, we don't fly charter, so we're changing planes and waiting in airports, and then you always have the weather factor. You know, we're trying to fly into Lewiston, and that'll be fogged in, or flying to Pullman, and up there in the air, and you know, so that's part of it. And then they've been good. I mean, you know, you think back to, you know, some of the teams they've had over the last decade. They've been good, both teams. And I'm responsible for both of the losses to Washington State here in Poly. No other coach has ever lost to Washington State in Poly but me. Here's truly. So I'm wary of this game.
With all that, you're saying good team, they've had good teams and difficult.
No question. I mean,
why have you reeled off 19 straight wins there?
You know what? A lot of luck. You know, I go back and think about. I think it was my second year here. They were up 3, and Dick Bennett was the coach, and they didn't foul us, and we made it 3 to tie it. Thompson made it 3 to tie it and won in overtime. And he said after the game, and I just kicked myself for not fouling. You know, that's always the coach's dilemma. Do you foul? Do you not foul? And, you know, so I remember him talking about that because I was good friends with Dick and had great respect for what Dick and Tony both accomplished there at Washington State. So it's really nothing short of my mind, I mean, of miraculous.
I mean, so much.
And it's going to end. I just don't want it to be on Wednesday. We all know that.
You would figure at some point the ball would bounce against the team after a 20-year period.
Well, let's not try to jinx it. But yeah, we've been very fortunate, very fortunate.
With Kyle, whether he goes to the NBA after this year or next year or after, what do you think he needs to improve on, especially to really round out his NBA resume?
Well, I think that having, you know, this year with Larry, you know, he had the ball in his hands most of the year, and I think a year from now, provided the Kyle's back, which, you know, I honestly hope. And I'm sorry, I mean, that I even, I'm sometimes too honest, because it'd be better just to have answered that question differently the other day. Because I never discussed it with Shabazz. It's kind of obvious when a kid's a lottery pick and that they're going to be going to the NBA. I mean, at this day and age. So that being said, if any, and things could happen for any of our other players too. I mean, you know, depending on how we play here down the stretch. But that being said, to answer your question, you know, Kyle having the ball in his hands more is even going to make him stand out more. The more he has the ball in his hands, where he is so good, and Larry has really improved, is upping the ball, advancing the ball in transition. But I think for Kyle, I think his real greatest strength is making plays for others. And by having the ball more and playing more of the point on offense, which is the plan, a year from now, I think it's going to, and I also think, like today we talked again, I said, God, you look good. Just looking at your body, and he looks very, fit. And he said, yeah, I've stopped drinking soda again. It's like, you're still a kid, he's growing up. Like all kids in our society, drinking sugary drinks. And so where he gets his body right, where he has a whole off season to work at lifting, his core, yoga, all of that is going to really increase. And then a year from now, and I'm talking about this year from now, I'm not playing him at the 4 on defense. He's strictly going to be guarding a 3 with 1 on offense. I think that's going to help prepare him, because he's still got to get better at chasing guys around, and trailing guys. That's what you have to do in the NBA. You've got to be able to defend. You're not going to play unless you can defend your position, defend a position. You're not going to play. They're not going to play. And, you look back, I was just commenting with someone yesterday, the kid left Kansas early, that was the #1 recruit in the country 3 years ago. He's out of the league now. What's his name? Out of Philadelphia?
Selby.
You better be ready. You better be prepared. And the biggest part for that, the next level, is the defensive side.
Would you suggest that he should have at least another year?
No, I'm not going to suggest anything until the season's over.
Would him coming back change your 2013 point guard recruiting plans at all?
No.
And did you just?
If Kyle's back, he's our starting point guard.
But does it make it less likely that you take another guard?
No, it doesn't. I shouldn't say it. Everybody's got to come in and fight it out. But, in my mind, moving forward, it's always about projecting, what could be.
You said you made those comments Saturday without discussing it with Shabazz. Have you discussed his future since then? Today?
No. No.
He's still downplaying it. Do you think there's even a slight opening there of him coming back?
But, it's incumbent upon me as the coach here, if a kid is a top 10 pick, to encourage him to do the right thing for him and his family. And in my opinion, almost without question, if someone's a lottery pick, he should go to the NBA. And the difference is, the later you go, this is the flip side. Like, do I think Tyler Honeycutt should have come back? 100%. He would have been a first-round pick the next year. And where you go in the draft, and you go back and study this, which I've done because we've lost a lot of guys early, is that the earlier you go, the more commitment that program, that NBA franchise has to you and is committed to you. The later you go, the less it is. And so it makes total sense. It's like, it's amazing to me that this turned into such a big deal. This is really big news. Because to me, it's not at all. But, I got home Saturday night and it's on ESPN every 4 seconds at the bottom there. Howland says, and you got to look at my ugly face there on the tube. I apologize. And you've seen some kids that were and came back anyway. And the two that come to mind for me are Horford and Miller. And really grew, after 07, I think, or 06, they would have all been really high, and they all like to come back. And the difference is that Yannick Noah is a multi-millionaire, and Horford's dad was a pro, and I'm not sure what the deal was with Brewer, but circumstances are always different. If I were him, I'd definitely come back. How would you want to leave this place? Huh? Who was out there? I know that you were there. How great was that for the students? The day before the game, when they're out there camping out, our players were out there handing out pizzas. Shabazz made a shot on the second throw, and they put the ping pong ball in the cup game. And the kids are out there and, running around, and it was, and it's funny, because I heard someone talk, and I think it may have been an announcer saying, if you talk to every pro player, they all tell kids, they interviewed Blake Griffin during our game the other day, and he's like, he was a top 10 pick, he came back, and he ended up the number 1 pick. So every kid is different, every kid varies. I just, want what's best for my players. And that was kind of cool, by the way, to have all those guys here. I'm looking, I had no idea. I never know this year at a game, when the game's going on. But all of a sudden, it's Blake Griffin, it's DeAndre Jordan, it's Matt, obviously was here, former Bruin, Baron Davis. I got such a great kick out of seeing Gary Shamling after the game, because I love the Larry Sanders show. I love Hank Kingsley, and I love Rip Torn in his role. I mean, I had a great time. I was the guy, I loved your show, and he's like, yeah. And then I started talking about, all those things that I knew about. He really did love the show. So that was a fun atmosphere on Saturday for everyone.
Did it ever come up during recruiting with Shabazz that you said, I'm going to be here 1 year?
I just said, that's my expectation going into it. Normally, the number 1 player in the country coming out of high school is one and done. I mean, go back and look at the last 10 years.
Has that been something you've had to get used to as time's gone on?
That's a good thing to get used to, because, it's happened 3 times, and, it's a blessing. I mean, it's a good problem to have if you're the number 1 player in the country. Like, I can't even say his name because he's a recruit, so. But.
Can you do initials?
AW, it's going to happen again in the future. And again, we're talking about this, what I would prefer, it's not going to happen, is that they go right out of high school, but once they come to college, they got to stay for 3 years. That would be my preference. Even 2 years. I would much have that better for the culture of basketball and for kids. But that's not going to happen. This is way set up great for the NBA. You guys are covering this. It's all over everywhere. These kids are household names coming out of college. They get to evaluate them for a year under much more organized, better players. It's all set up for them. And we have no control. We have nothing. It would be great if we could have more of a dialogue, because I think it would be better overall for the culture of basketball and ultimately for their league if they stayed for more than 1 year once they attend college.
Without the one and done rule, do you think maybe you wouldn't have had guys like Shabazz or Kevin Love?
No, I think they would have gone right away.
Mm-hmm. So has that benefited UCLA at all?
Absolutely, it's been great. I mean, I'll always treasure coaching Kevin Love and Drew Holiday.
Is there any way to kind of force the NBA into?
No, I don't see it happening. And that's one of the reasons why I think like the NFL is such a home run. I mean, because everybody knows they're going for 3, these kids are left alone coming out of high school, they're able to enjoy their college experience. Vast majority of them have an opportunity to graduate, they're really close to graduation. If they don't, they leave after year 3. I mean, and they're much more ready once they get there. There's less, no one does all the stories about guys that left early and then are out. I go back and just think about here locally, like the kid that was at SC, was the first pick in the 2nd round, the Celtics is now over in Israel or somewhere. Really good player from the Valley. What was his name? Played for Tim's first couple of years. Him and Nick Young were the backcourt. Great player.
Gabe Pruitt.
Yep.
Gabe Pruitt.
Gabe Pruitt stays 1 more year. He's still in the league right now. There's so many kids that are at that end of the draft that actually get messed up by this whole thing. There's such a push, and that's why having a strong family. There's kids. Nobody that has stayed here has been hurt by staying here since I've been here. Now, one guy has been hurt by staying here.
Does that put Kyle in a more precarious situation when he's not, guaranteed any, or he's not like Strauss right now? Is it incumbent upon you to help him make that decision at the end of the season?
Yeah, but he has a dad who's a coach and a mom, they're smart. They're gonna do, it's all about long-term. Everybody in our society is about now. But in a decision like that, you've gotta have vision to see the long-term. And, so I'm very confident that, and at the end, and we'll see, But they're smart people. They're intelligent, very bright, been around it their whole lives situation. So, they'll make good decisions. And Kyle ultimately will be the one that makes his own decision. He's very mature.
Any more questions?
Coach, does it become harder for you to minimize distractions, seeing as how you're in a position to win the conference going into this weekend?
Was there distractions?
Does it become harder to keep your team focused?
I hope not. If you talk about distractions, though, they were last weekend here. It was, the circus was in full swing with college game day, and it was wild. And they handled that very well, really well. And we had guys that, Kyle had his boyhood friends that had never been here before out here for the first time, coming from New Jersey. It's 85 degrees here when they get off the plane, and they're pretty excited. And he handled that well. And these guys are used to distractions. I've never seen guys on the phone texting more. They're constantly distracted. It's just part of their lives.
Is there more pressure this week?
There's always pressure. It's the next game. I know you want drama. That's your guys' thing. Every game is the biggest game of the year from my standpoint. And that's what I try to impress upon our players.
Give an update on Travis's.
Travis didn't practice today, and we went very light today. There was no contact. But he didn't practice. He had some swelling in there, which was expected after the game on Saturday. He played great. For his minutes, I was told to limit him to 15 to 20 minutes. He played 17. Did a great job, especially considering he hadn't really been up and down at all for a week. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do more.
You didn't, you had him out for about the last 5 minutes of the game. Is that because of the time frame, or did
No, it's just because I was just
tighten up on you?
in other words, he was out for a week, and I was more comfortable having Dave and Kyle in there than Travis and Kyle, because he had missed the last 8 days. And so that was more that I was just going. Dave was playing great. Dave Ware has had a terrific run here as a recent, is really playing his best basketball this season, which I'm really excited about.
Has the team's reliance on Travis lessened a bit recently, just given how well the freshmen have all played on offense?
Not from my standpoint. Like at Stanford, he had 6 defensive boards. That was huge. So no, it definitely weakens us to not have Travis out there and have him out there at full strength. And we need to get him back out there, but we're not going to rush it. We're going to be very conservative, as the doctors always are with our players here.
Any more questions?
Okay, thank you.